Good evening and welcome into Tornado Live, sponsored by Black Horse Pub and Brewery. Heath Dunkel alongside Scott Dunkel, excited for another edition of this week. Starting off our show, members of the ALCOA band. So guys, let's kick that off by having you say your name and also what instrument you play.
My name is Fernando Martinez. I play the clarinet, and I am also the marching band's drum major for this season.
My name is Dante Gomez. I play the trumpet, and I'm also the band captain.
And then my name is Micah Larson. I play the mellophone and the French horn, and I'm the band lieutenant.
Awesome. Well, guys, it's been a minute since we had you guys up here with us. Appreciate you taking the time being back tonight. I want you to tell me a little bit about, since we last spoke, what's gone on with the band. Tell us about it.
Well, it's been great. Not only just the improvements we've made since we've last talked. You know, I remember last time especially we talked about how most of the show wasn't there. Well, we've added a lot of new music, a lot of new work in the guard, new things to the percussion, and especially new visuals, a lot of those. But even then, just our growth as not only as a group, as musicians, but as a family. And, you know, that culture, that ALCOA band culture, I think it's really, really grown and gotten stronger. And when it comes to competitions, we've had two by now. We had the one at Sevier County that we talked about last time, and we also had the one at Heritage just this past Saturday. And both of those have been very, very successful. You know, we've had multiple first places within our band as a whole. Especially the one at Heritage, especially, that was really, really good. But even trophies aside, and the physical things we get, I think just as a run through, as a group, as a whole, I think we all can agree as a band that we gave our best run, and the improvement that we've had over the season is really, really good. So I'm really proud of the work that we've done so far. Job's not done yet. We still got one more, but I love the progress we're doing, and I can't wait to see how we go from there. But
yeah, I like the Kobe mentality. The job's not finished, right? A lot of stuff to still work on and continue to improve. I mean, it really has sounded like, from what I've seen, that you guys have really done quite well at your competitions, like you mentioned. I know the one at Heritage recently someone made me aware of, and we tried to give a little love on 2 Hype because we were super proud of you guys. But looking at that one, I think you were the grand champions of small division, and then you were, I think, third in a couple of categories, and I know color guard I think was first overall. Talk to me too about what that means, not only being the grand champion of the small division, but overall, how impressive is it for you guys to be the cream of the crop as well with that?
Well, yeah, the target was to do well in our division, and I'm glad we did that. But the fact that we can also do so well in like the division above that, and above that, and above that, is just a sign that our work is allowing us to push a lot further than our weight. And so, that's something that reflects a lot on the people in the band. Like, we have fantastic musicians and performers that have really been putting in effort that allow us to be so successful. And it is a great accomplishment for us. It's a great honor. Yeah.
Is there any sort of, just out of curiosity, any sort of competitive factor when it comes to any other sport, any other club in the school that does well, and you go, we want to do well too? Like, that isn't the only good thing in this school. Like, hey, the band is really good too. We're going to show everybody how great the ALCOA band is and make a statement for a Tornado band. Is there any sort of maybe friendly competition or any sort of inspiration that you guys take in with that?
Yeah, there definitely is. I tend to think that the band gets overlooked because people are just like, oh, well, they show up to the football games, they play a kind of cool show at halftime, and that's about it. But it's very rewarding when people are like, oh, wow, you guys actually compete and do stuff. And then when we go out and compete, like, people know we are a part of the ALCOA High School band. We are the ones that did all these great things, won first place, and that was an accomplishment and not something you hear all the time. And it's good recognition, I will say.
Yeah. Absolutely. Well, I'll tell you, I'll go ahead and let you go, and then I'm going to throw it over to him. Go ahead.
I just want to add on real quick to what he said. I think a big part of it is just how marching band in general is just super overlooked.
Yeah.
Whether it's a high school, all the way to colleges and even all the way up to DCI, which is the highest level of marching band. I think most people, and in a friendly way, in a respectful way, you go to school, and some people realize you're in band and they're like, oh, okay, well, they play in the stands, or, they play Seven Nation Army, or, they play rocky music, or they play the cool college band music. But it's really more than that. We've been sweating and crying and grinding since the beginning of July, and even earlier for some other groups. And I think it really motivates us more to we're more than just stand tunes, and we're more than just playing in the stands.
Yeah.
We compete, and not only do we compete, we win. And I think that's something that we need to really just show, that we're more than just a pep tune band. We're a marching band, and we compete. And yeah, just like every other sport, that we have, football, basketball, soccer, they're all great, but we're one of those too, and I think that's something that we've tried to get more recognition on. But even then, it's just, it's a friendly competition in every way, in a good way though.
I'd say as a choir kid, I definitely understand music. I think overall is a little underrated, right? Like, you work so hard, and people talk about the sports a lot in the school, but you're like, man, you don't understand. Like, when you're in the music world, some of the things you see people do, or something like going to a show and watching someone do something that the person to the left of you has no idea how hard it is, but you know how hard it is, and you're like, man, that was really cool. And so I think that it's impressive what you guys have done. Kudos to you guys. I remember being in middle school, I think, when Drumline came out with Nick Cannon, and I'm like, we need some more band movies. Like, Drumline made me feel cool to be in the band again. Like, we need to get some more of those out to show how awesome you guys are. But you guys are showing it yourselves. You're doing incredible stuff. And speaking of band, a guy on the far end that was in the band certainly understands the band needs more love. Scott, I'm turning over to you now.
All right, Heath, thank you very much. And guys, I will say, yes, I do understand what all you put into it. 4 years of it myself, so I do understand that. And so congratulations, because that is really hard work, and everything you guys have to go through, like you said, blood, sweat, and tears, pretty much, to be able to do that. But another thing you guys get to do that a lot of schools don't get to do is you get to perform 14 to 15 times a year. So a lot of people see it because you're blessed by how well the football team does, but you get to get out there and perform. However, come around December, when most schools are getting ready to do their Christmas program, you guys are still marching and still doing stuff. So how do you mix that in with the concert band?
Okay. So once we leave, I guess, the competitive season, and we don't actually perform on the field anymore, I think that aspect cools down a lot, because we only spend probably 1 or 2 days of the week working on the stand tunes, because the biggest time consuming thing for us, and our biggest thing, is the halftime show. And so once that goes away, we sort of on Fridays we work on the stand tunes, and besides that, we're switching into a different mode, into a different mentality.
Now, moving forward, guys, I know there's a little bit left in the season that you guys are preparing for. Talk to me about what's next for band.
Yeah, so we actually host a competition this week. Okay. So if anyone would like to pull up, that would be great. We don't compete at that. We're an exhibition group, but that's a way for us to give back to the community, but also it gives us recognition and helps us fundraise, because it's expensive what we do. So we have that, and we're hoping that goes well, that we can run that well, because this will be our 50th year doing that.
Wow.
So we try to make sure it's a good experience for everyone, and to do it to the best of our ability. And then right after that, we are going to Smyrna, and we're having our state, which is a full roster. We compete against 27 bands, and we have your prelims and your finals, and the goal is always try to make it to finals, and they take the top 10 bands, and then they compete against each other, and then that's the final rating. So we just want to make sure, because we feel that we are a very good group, and all those bands that go to state also, they're very, very talented, but we hope that we can make it into that final stage and show them what ALCOA is about.
I just wanted to, adding on to that really quickly, A lot of people think, I've also realized a misconception, is that we only compete with bands in Class 3A, which is our band. We're pretty much at the peak of their, more likely than not, we'll move up to 4A next year. But even staying this year, for example, at State, we're going to compete against 1A, 2As, but even going higher, we're going to compete against 4A bands, 5A bands, and 6A bands. And those get really, really big.
Yeah.
So the fact that you get the opportunity to make it into the final 10, even as a smaller band against those big bands, because some of those, they're really, really big.
Yeah.
So it just shows how it's just really who wants it more. And, size and numbers is obviously really helpful in bands. It's just of getting sound out. But if everyone isn't, you could have a band of 500 people, and if only 100 of them are truly focused and trying to accomplish their goal, I'd rather have a band of 60, 80 people who are all focused and wanting to do the same thing. But it really just goes to show how wide and diverse the competition is. But I just wanted to add on that. It's not just 3A bands. It's everyone, really.
Yeah, I mean, and I would say, too, the bigger the band, I'll go to you in a minute, Scott, but I think the bigger the band, too, the harder it is because you have to all be together. And so the bigger the band, the crispness of just being right together every time you're doing something is so vitally important. So there's more room for error, I would think, with a larger band than a smaller one. Now, a smaller one, too, at the same token, if a smaller group, one person messes up, it's probably going to be a little bit more clearer to hear, right? So there's pros and cons to both. But yeah, I'm with you. I'd rather have 60 people all locked in, rowing the boat in the same direction than 500 with only 100 doing so, for sure. Scott, did you have something you wanted to add? You look like you did.
Yeah, another thing, you talked about doing this coming up for ALCOA on Saturday, and just an exhibition side on your end. But when you go to the competitions, Saturday included as well, do you like to band watch? Do you actually sit and watch the bands? Do you find yourself just trying to enjoy what they're doing, or do you catch yourself critiquing what they're doing?
For sure, we like to watch the bands and don't critique. I mean, I hope we're not. I mean, I know we don't, but it's more so we like to see what they're doing good. And some of those shows, especially in the bigger bands, like, like there was a few shows at Heritage last Saturday that, wow, like they just make you. They not make you wish that you were like your band was like that, because obviously our band is great, but it's like imagine like what is truly possible with even 200 people or 100 people. It's just, instead of critiquing bands, you'd be like, oh, they missed that note, no, it's more, wow, look at that visual they did, or wow, look at that solo, just cheering them on. It's a great environment there. The entire stadium is filled with band parents and band kids.
Yes.
So everyone there loves it, and even if it doesn't even matter if the show isn't great. Like, it doesn't even matter, even though I think every show is great in its own way. But it's just, if music's coming out and it sounds good, or just if music really just comes out in general out of the instrument, we're going to like it. We're going to cheer them on. But, yeah, we definitely like to watch the bands. Obviously, not all of them, because, there's times where you got to do other things. But I personally try to watch as many bands as I can, even though sometimes I'm not able to watch as many as I'd like. But, yeah, I'd say we definitely watch them.
Okay, good deal.
Yeah, I'll shout out a couple bands that I watched last year. You have Science Hill, which compared to us is like humongous, but it's so cool. It's just so cool seeing like what so many people can do together, because it's just a different experience. We're used to a smaller band of around 80 people. They have like 150, and they're able, with a lot more people, to produce a lot more sound. So it's just like how do they utilize the people they have? And then like Oak Ridge, great show last year in like Hardin Valley. I know they try out for their band, which we are not to the point yet, but like so it's like they have the trying out process, but also their costumes go with their show. So last year they were like dust bunnies, and I just thought that's so cool that they can do, like, their costumes can match the theme, and it just adds that much more. And I mean, it's just cool to see what other people are doing, like different ideas, because you have like, there was a show, and it was like music throughout the generations. So you had like your jazz, your pop, and then you had more popular rock songs, and then I think they even played like a Taylor Swift song or something related to that. So it was really cool being able to see what all they could do.
Do you ever find yourself over the years in band where you hear a song or a performance, and then you go to the director and you're like, can we please do this in the future? I know, and I don't know how easy that is with band, but I know when I was in choir, we would, we had certain groups that we knew when we went to competition, they were kind of our competition. Like I knew for Heritage, like we had a really good group, and when we would travel, Lenore City was a group that we knew their director was really solid, so they were always going to have a killer group, and so we would always be like locked in to hear Lenore City. And then if we found any tunes they did, and one year they did this Taiwanese piece that was just brilliant, that we were like, at that point I think I was a sophomore or junior, and we were begging our director, we were like, when we're seniors we have to do this song. And so like every chance we had, we were like reminding him like, hey, don't forget, we're doing this song when we're seniors. So I was just curious, like for you guys as band members, have you ever heard a song that you like went to the director and it's like, how do we do this next year? Like how do we need to do this?
Yeah, that happens a lot with stand tunes during the marching season, where we'll hear another team play a tune, and we're instantly like looking it up, trying to see how we can get our hands on that, and then talking to McCurdy. But and that at least for me, that also happens a lot in the concert season, because I'll listen to other bands, to other performances, and there are some pieces that are just so moving. Yeah. And it's like, how can I perform this with our high school band? And yeah, it is really fun to listen to other bands and take inspiration from what they're playing and trying to play what they're playing. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, just today, this is like perfect timing for that question. Just today, we added a new song, Still Fly. Okay. And we did that. We also did Thriller, which we normally do around Halloween, but Still Fly is one we're going to have in our repertoire, because a couple of us were like, you know what, that's kind of a cool song. We want to try and play that. And then Cohen Holloway, he went on, he did some research, and he was like, you know what, I want to be able to do this. He looked up the sheet music, got it printed out, and then we performed it and practiced it today. So
that's awesome. I bet you guys are gonna be excited when like you're like, all right, it's time for Still Fly. You're like, yes, like we get to do that. That's awesome. Scott, did you have anything else you wanted to add?
That was pretty much. You guys have done fantastic tonight. I appreciate it, and congratulations so far on a great season, and continue to do what you're doing. You're doing great.
Yeah, absolutely. Like I said, there's nothing I love more than being able to kind of music nerd out a little bit and talk about music with band or with choir. When we had the singers up here too, I told them, I said, I'm going to ask you some crazy questions because I'm just going to have fun with it because I love music. I think that music is so powerful. It can do so much for people, and I think so much good. And I think, music's kind of one of those things where it can be really fun, but it can also be really moving and have a really big impact on people's lives. And people don't realize too, like, I think from a choral and from a band perspective, also too, people typically say that people that are involved in music, no slight on anybody else, but tend to be more intelligent because they learn a lot of stuff through music that really develops them and helps their brain development as well. So I think we got some pretty smart guys up here that are doing some awesome things. And guys, we wish you the best this state. We can't wait to hear how it goes. But what a great group. I appreciate y'all coming on. We're going to take a quick break. When we come back on Tornado Live, talk a little bit about DECA and some fun things that they've got coming up. We'll be right back. Welcome back into Tornado Live, sponsored by Black Horse Pub and Brewery. It's been a great night so far. We had members of the band up here moments ago talking some music with us. Now we've got Liberty Lawson, a sophomore in DECA. Liberty, first off, I really appreciate you taking the time, but I want to just kind of dive in first to talk about your experience so far. I mean, you're a sophomore. You've been in DECA 2 years now. What kind of led to getting into it, and then kind of where you've gotten to from there?
It really all began as a freshman taking Marketing 1 or Intro to Business, and the teacher was like, hey, you're really good at this class, maybe you'd want to do DECA. So I looked at it, I did my research about it, and I was like, this looks like something I could do. Like, it looks like something I would be interested in, especially for future jobs. Like, if you have something to do with like numbers, finance, presenting in front of like bigger people that you want to do that with, I say it's a great thing to do. But she recommended me for it. I tried it, and I was like, I really like doing this. I'm going to keep doing it, and I plan to do it my junior and senior year and see how that goes.
That's awesome. Well, I know one of the things you were telling me about was kind of competition with DECA. So I want to talk a little bit now about that, because I know that you have done really well already. I think last year you said as a freshman you went to state. So talk to me about how you got there, and then what was that experience like?
Well, since I was a freshman, everybody else was principals. That's the main thing you want to do, is what you get recommended for, is do your principals first. That way you can kind of get the flow of things.
Okay.
They were like, you're past principals, so we're going to put you in these really advanced, high top, like presenting written events. And written events, you go straight to state.
Okay.
So I didn't compete at districts. I went straight to state, and that was fun. Only thing was just having to make the presentation. You could either make billboards or you could make like a slideshow. I chose the slideshow since I'm good with the getting the point across, everything with the 6x6 rule format, everything like that. But all in all, it was really just, this was the event I wanted to do. They recommended me higher. So what you think you're capable of is a lot lower than what you're actually capable of.
Yeah.
Your mind just takes you straight down. So for me, it was, I want to do a principals, see how this goes. Everybody was like, no, you're way better than that. And they put me in a written event. So I went straight to state. And I didn't go until, we got there at like 12-ish at state. I didn't go until 3-4 hours later. So
how nervous were you waiting that long?
I was so nervous for it. But I ended up seeing a whole bunch of people go, people from my school. They were like, it's not as bad as you think, because you're kind of talking like we are now, except they're across from you, and you just tell them about your event and how you plan to solve the dilemma or the prompt that they give you and how they want to solve it.
Yeah.
You just have a normal conversation. They ask you 1 or 2 questions, and then you leave, and then you're done.
Wow, that's did you feel like, too, obviously watching helps in the sense of you get to figure out the script a little bit and kind of get to watch how they interact. But I know sometimes when I'm watching, even when I was competing back in the day, like sometimes if there was a group that didn't do as well, I would have more confidence, because I would go, man, I feel really prepared, so I think I can do better than that. And that gives me some more confidence walking onto the stage or wherever I'm setting up to, that like, I think I'm going to do pretty good at this. Like, did you feel like you found any confidence along the way, just kind of watching other people and going, you know what? I feel like I'm more prepared than they are. Like, I feel like I'm ready to do this.
Sometimes I felt a little bit better about me going, because they were like, I have no idea what I'm doing. I'm not prepared at all. And I was just like, well, I know what I'm going to say, so I feel like a little bit better. But all of the people in DECA are super smart, super kind, and I know pretty much all of them. So for them to say that they feel like they did horrible, it kind of shot me down a little bit too, because I was like, these are people who are insanely smart, and I know they're insanely smart and confident in their speech and how they present. And they were like, I think I did horrible. And I was like, I'm pretty sure you didn't. And then I got in there and I was like, I know how they feel now, because they're just staring at you the whole time, and they don't break eye contact. So it's really hard for them just to always have that eye contact. Like, I try in my mind every time when I go to districts this year, I'm gonna be like, keep good eye contact, your posture, try not to talk with your hands. That's a big habit a lot of people said that they had, was talking with their hands. But overall, it was really just seeing them feel like they failed. It was like, am I gonna fail? But it wasn't as bad as they thought. Like, most of them who thought they did terrible actually did better than they thought. So it brought me a bit of confidence to see them do well. so it brought me a teeny bit to see them fail, but overall, I was just like, if they're hurting, so am I, because we as a school wanted to get up there, and everybody was like, we have no confidence in you, and I was like, that helps a lot. So that was really fun.
Only way to go was up. Well, hey, I was going to ask you next kind of what you learned from it. It sounded like kind of from what you told me, you found some little tips and tricks that you take now into another year of development, coming into your sophomore year going, okay, now I know what to do better going into year 2. On top of that, as a whole for DECA, you guys have got some things coming up. So talk to us about what's next for DECA.
Right now, we're going to take our state testing for us as a school the 30th, I believe, and then we're going to districts, which is going to be really fun. Only thing that I hate about districts is the wait time, because it's just in your mind like this is going to go terribly. Like, I know people from last year, some people went first and they got it over with. Some had to wait 4 hours and they were there until 9. So it's really just that constant pressure of, I'm going to do so bad. When am I going to go? It's constant anxiety. And as someone who got to see them like get so stressed about it, number one tip I could give you is just breathe. It's not going to go as terrible as you think, because those people who were like overthinking it a whole bunch ended up getting really high placements and really high scores. So next we have testing, which is going to be in a few days, which we're all studying for currently. And then we're going to go to districts, and that's going to be a whole lot of fun, hopefully.
Awesome. Well, that's exciting. So I know you guys put on some events. We've got an event coming up next week. Tell us about it.
Well, the trunk or treat is something we do annually.
Okay.
We do it every year. I went last year. It was my freshman year going. It was the first time I'd gone. It was a really, really fun. You could see a whole bunch of people in clubs set up their tables and everything, and they were like, here, this is why you should do this and why. And then they give out candy to kids, which is really fun. And it's just really nice to see how the school comes together to give back to their community for all the money and time that they put into us. So it's just a little way that we give back. And DECA this year is like, we're going to be a part of that, and we're going to feel honored to be a part of that.
Yeah, I mean, I really think it is such a community-driven thing that's so fun to watch, because ALCOA is such a tight community. This is a group of people that love their tornadoes, thick and thin, and it's fun to watch even those little ones with their little tornado shirts coming in, or their little costumes, and how excited they are to be amongst all the big high schoolers and other people putting on stuff for them at trunk or treat. I know my experience at the elementary school, it's fun to watch them talk about watching ALCOA football and how excited they are for this and that. Like, these kids really look up to you guys, and y'all set a great standard for them. And so you got trunk or treat. What's after that leading into the holidays? Any other big things you guys are getting ready for?
We have a Christmas parade right in the smack dab of December. So I think it's a little bit before, maybe a bit after, but that's going to be a whole bunch of fun. I did it my 8th grade year. Okay. So I didn't do it freshman year because I was kind of getting in the swing of being a high schooler, but 8th grade year was really fun. I got to see how everybody was so excited for the Christmas season, how we brought everybody, the community, back together for ALCOA Tornadoes. I got to hold the sign saying Merry Christmas a whole bunch, and it just was so nice to see everybody say it back, and how happy they were that we were doing this for them, and how we were happy that they came out to support us. So that's going to be really fun to do this year.
Now, is that the JC's Christmas parade? Is that what we're talking about, or do you know?
There was JC's, and I got to see the one that we do for the high school.
Oh, okay.
So that one was amazing too. I didn't get to actually participate in that one.
Yeah.
But they were both amazing to see, just how the community was there and how we give back to the community.
Yeah, the one for DECA, is it the JC's Christmas parade? Is that one you're teaming up with the JC's group, or is that another one?
They're both kind of their own thing.
Okay.
Sometimes they merge, sometimes they don't. I think this year we're a little bit in between of both and merge.
Okay, cool.
Between each other. But even if it was together, as if we're helping JC's with us, or if we're our own thing, it's just so nice to see how everybody gets to come together and be a huge family right before the holiday season. Yeah,
the reason I was asking is I do know the JC's Christmas parade is on December the 13th, unless it gets rained out, and then I think they're moving it to the following day. So it will be on a Saturday, because I just recently was in discussions about I might potentially get to MC it and be there and hang out with everybody, which is kind of exciting to be a part of that event. Christmas is such a great time of year, and I'm excited that you guys are going to be doing some cool things with that. Keenan does an awesome job with his group. The final question for you is, for someone, freshman, sophomore, junior, that says, I've seen DECA from afar, I've kind of been interested, but I don't really know. I don't know if this is right for me. But what would you tell them of why they should do DECA?
I'd say you never know until you try. Like you really have to go for it. I saw DECA as an opportunity for me, and I was like, this could be something I could use for my future after I go out of high school and potentially college. And turns out there's a lot more than just numbers, finance, business, blah, blah, blah. It's a whole bunch more than that. You get to see how everybody from different schools is interested in stuff that you're doing and how they're preparing for their future. So it doesn't really matter the grade you're in, freshman, sophomore, junior, senior. I'd say go for it. If you're interested, go for it. You never know until you try. And if it's not for you, at least you tried. And it was it's a fun experience if you don't come back again.
Yeah, well, that's awesome. Hopefully we can get some people on board and just continue to be involved in DECA. But certainly they've got a great role model to follow. Only a sophomore, but already doing some big things with DECA. So, Liberty, thanks for taking the time. We appreciate that. We're going to take a break, and when we come back, we're going to wrap up Tornado Live with Scott Dunkel and myself talking a little ALCOA football moving into Friday night. We'll be back in a moment. Welcome back into Tornado Live, sponsored by Black Horse Pub and Brewery. Had a great lineup so far tonight as we're getting ready to close this out, talking a little ALCOA football. But started off with the ALCOA band, then had Liberty Lawson from DECA. Scott, great interview with her. Fantastic young lady, only a sophomore, really impressed. She's mature, and she is, and how she's already making some big waves in DECA and doing some great things for them.
Yeah, exactly, Heath. Not only that, and she did, like you said, a great performance. Hard to come out and follow that now, but also with the guys from the band as well. Great job on their part, too.
I know. I think Tim in my ear was telling me a minute ago, Liberty Lawson is actually going to be with me for the rest of the season. Scott, we're going to go ahead. No, I'm just kidding. But let's talk ALCOA football. What another great performance last week against Heritage. Another shutout for the Tornadoes this season. That was surprisingly only their second shutout of the year, but granted, they put in a lot lot of reserves later in each game. But their first one earlier in the season against West, actually no, third, excuse me. They did it against West. They did it against Fulton, and then they did it last week against the Mountaineers. Really dominating performance, a 47-0 victory.
That it was, Heath, and what a performance. Again, as you said, we put in a lot of the subs later on in the game, took out a lot of the starters, but Thomas Manu, 9 of 11 for 187 yards, 2 passes, touchdown passes, no sacks. Offensive line did a great job protecting him. Condis Cherry, 6 carries, 86 yards for 2 TDs. And then receiving Jalen Pinson, our player of the game, as well. 3 catches for 83 yards and a touchdown. Jamari Dean wasn't too bad himself either. 2 catches for 67 and a touchdown. But defensively, 2 outstanding plays. Damari DeBose, a 90-yard pick 6 there to end the first half, along with Man Henry, a 20-yard scoop and score to start the second half for the Tornadoes as well, and basically put that game well out of way and out of reach for the Mountaineers.
Well, and Damari DeBose almost put it on ice with that 90-something-yard run that got unfortunately called back because of a penalty.
Right.
Might have solidified for him the player of the week. Unfortunately didn't. It got called back, and so we gave it to Jalen Pinson. But, Scott, something else, someone had messaged me this week and asked me, about what the stats looked like for Thomas Manu, talking about his touchdowns, and hey, like, is he about to break a record? So I don't have the ALCOA records fully for that. I did, however, look at TSSAA records and find out that they've got about 11 on the list for throwing over 40 touchdowns in a season. Now, the top 2 spots, Charlie High, not necessarily surprising. Remember his days at CAK.
I remember him.
But only 11 on that list, and at 40 or higher. Manu is at 27 touchdowns for the season. I think he's got a really good chance of being someone who adds his name to that list. We've still got this game, 2 games to go in the regular season, plus 5 in the playoffs, hopefully. I think there's a great chance in 7 games for him to be able to get 13 or more touchdowns and find himself in that record book. So I think that's at least one area where he could break a record. But there's been so many incredible players this season making a name for themselves. Not only is Manu having a great year, I think the thing that stands out to me the most with him, over 80% completion percentage. He's been really solid, making really good decisions, and still, I think so far, knock on wood, yet to throw an interception so far this season as well.
No interception so far at all for Manu, which speaks a lot for a quarterback getting ready to enter his 9th game of the season and no interception.
Absolutely. Very impressive season so far for him. But Scott, as we move into this week against Carter, last home game of the regular season, that is going to be a fun game for multiple reasons, and we'll get more into that as we wrap it up. But it's also another region game, and there's a lot of things going on in the region as we wrap up the regular season.
Right, it is, Heath. And right now what you're looking at, obviously, Fulton and Union County are out of the playoff picture whatsoever. Alcoa, Anderson County, and Carter, they're pretty much locks for getting in. Right now, you've got that 4th spot, and there's such a weird scenario of what could happen depending on who does what. Gibbs is in the best driver's seat right now because if Alcoa goes up, defeats Carter this week and then goes up and defeats Anderson County and Gibbs plays out, next thing you know, Gibbs, who's in 4th right now, could end up in 2nd. There's such a wide thing that could happen. South Doyle still hanging on by a thread, but they have Anderson County and Fulton coming up. If they were to win out, Anderson County, thinking about Alcoa the next week, gets caught sleeping. All of a sudden, you've got South Doyle in this thing. I'm sure for pretty much right now, looking at the records, a team with 4 wins is going to get in. However, like I said, if South Doyle wins out and Gibbs wins one of their 2 games, South Doyle is going to get the edge because they beat Gibbs earlier this year.
Well, and it also looked like, if I was looking at just a little bit of it correctly, and I know you're a little bit more in depth on this than I am, Heritage has a chance too. There's still a slight chance for them. They've got to win this week against Gibbs, number 1, and then they've got one more game after that. I don't remember who Heritage finishes out with. Union County. So they got to beat Gibbs. They got to beat Union County. Is there anything else that needs to fall their way, or do they just need to win out?
They just need to beat Gibbs. They already have the tiebreaker over South Doyle. That's the only other team that can tie them. If they were able to beat Gibbs, they're in the playoffs for sure. But you're looking at a tough Gibbs team that defeated Anderson County just about 2 weeks ago.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's the thing that's really fascinating about that. And this is kind of what we were talking about and really kind of have been talking about throughout the season is Alcoa Anderson, we felt were kind of that 1 and 2. I have a feeling it will stay that way. But we thought that 3rd and 4th spot was going to be really interesting. And I had said I felt Gibbs and Heritage were going to be 2 teams battling it out for those kind of middle spots. And I think we're seeing that. Now, Carter has kind of been, again, maybe it's on me not knowing as much as I needed to know about Carter, but Carter has been kind of a surprising team. And I felt like they have done a really good job saying, hey, don't forget about the Carter Hornets. And they're coming into this game. And, even though, I'm sure no one is predicting them to win, they don't think that way. They're coming in to try to pull an upset. They're 4-1 in the region, looking to see if they can pick up win number 5. This is a team that averages 41 points a game, only allows 27, defeated Austin East last week. They've got a pretty good coach as well in Todd Helton. One of the interesting things, Scott, I saw this week about Todd Helton, and no, not University of Tennessee Todd Helton, but is this guy has worked his way up from the bottom. Kind of reminds me a little bit of Eric Spoelstra, as I'm sure my brother would like, from the Miami Heat. Started in the film room. He wanted to be a part of this program so bad that he said, I'll do anything. Like, I'll start in your film room. He started in the film room, learned there, helped cut up tape, do things in there to help the team, then moved from there to an assistant, started working his way up through the assistant ranks, and then when their coach that they had left, everyone basically said, like, it's his job. And, like, sure enough, the AD gave it to him, and now he's in year 2 and having a fantastic season with the Hornets. Yeah,
a team that, like you said, you weren't really knowing what you were going to get out of this team, and they have surprised a lot of people. But they are a good team. They did lose to Anderson County earlier this year, but they're in every game they play. They fight for everything. They're going to have an interesting one as well as they finish the season against Gibbs at Gibbs. So, again, you've got Heritage and Carter both facing Gibbs at the end of the season, which is going to put everything on Gibbs. They're going to have to win those games. But, again, Heritage could take care of their own self by winning the next 2 games.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, this is a rivalry game next week for Carter and Gibbs. Luckily for Gibbs, it's at Gibbs.
Yes.
So I'm sure, even if they do fall to Heritage, they're going to have even more reason to get into that last week at home. Need the crowd out there in Corrington to really back them as they try to come away with a win and get themselves into the playoffs. But some fun things to kind of keep an eye on throughout Friday and then throughout next week as well. We are excited to be able to bring that to you. And as we close this out, one of the things to let you know, when I said about why the Carter game is also big, is because it's also the Hall of Fame game. And so Randall Cobb will be there, and he will be inducted into the Alcoa Hall of Fame. So you won't want to miss that. But if you're not able to come out and watch the game, it starts at 7 p.m. at Alcoa High School on Friday night. You've got multiple ways to listen. You can listen and stream it on audio at 94.3 Jack FM, or you can watch it on the NFHS network or on YouTube at Alcoa Athletics. So a lot of different ways to listen, Scott, and I think it's going to be a great game. As we close this thing out, your thoughts of how things are going to go on Friday?
It's Alcoa. That's exactly my thought. Alcoa is going to win that, just as long as they are not looking to Anderson County the next week. But I don't see that. Coach Nix has his team ready for every game, and he's going to be ready. Alcoa is going to be ready, and I see them finishing out the season undefeated.
Yeah, I definitely think the Tornadoes are going to be able to come away with that victory. I think Carter might be able to put up a couple scores. I could maybe see them putting one up on the first string defense, but I think more than anything, it's going to be a dominating Alcoa performance. And then I think if you see some points scored in garbage time, it may make the score look a little closer than it actually was. But I think the Tornadoes are going to make sure they leave no doubt, and they're going to come away with the win, moving into a really fun and interesting final week of high school football in 4A. But Scott, thanks so much. It was good to have you back on the mic with us here for Tornado Live. And we appreciate everyone who tuned in or came out and supported us tonight. And we want to give a little shout out before I forget to Joe Cooper. Thank you of the Alcoa Law Firm for his support of this as well. We certainly appreciate you. If you ever need some help, certainly give him a call. But thanks so much for watching the Tornado Live here, sponsored by Black Horse Pub and Brewery. Until next time, we'll say so long, good night, and yes, that just happened.